Welcome to Learn Yourself. Today we are going to learn and understand chapter 11, that is Human Eye and Colorful World. So today we are going to learn and understand the structure of the eye, and we will understand that how the image formation will happen at retina, and we will get to know that what is that object and how our brain is sensing all those signals. So let us start with the structure of the eye. So lens forms an image on light sensitive screen, and that is called retina. This is a structure of eye, whereas this is our lens, that is known as crystalline lens. Then here aqueous humor will be there, which will give a watery substance and aqueous medium to the eye, so it will not get dry. Here this is a pupil just in front of the crystalline lens. Then iris will be there, and then cornea is there. So this is a cornea where most of the refraction will happen for the eye. Then these are known as ciliary muscle. This red linings, what you can see, they are ciliary muscles. Now this inside surface of the eye is known as retina, whereas here behind the eye, these are the optic nerves from where the signal will go to the brain. Now lens forms an image on eye sensitive screen retina. So it's here. Light enters the eye through a thin membrane called cornea. So this is a cornea, and from where the light will enters into the eye. Now our eyeball, that is spherical, this, and it has a diameter of 2.3 centimeter. Now whatever refraction will happen, that happen at outer surface of the cornea here. And iris, that is this structure just before the crystalline lens, that is a dark muscular diaphragm, and it controls the size of pupil. This diaphragm, this black line is iris, and that will control the size of the pupil. That is a dark muscular diaphragm. Now pupil, it controls the light entering into the eye. We have observed that when we will go from dark to the bright light, and automatically our eyes will get closed because of the bright light, and that is controlling light factor for the eye. When we are going from bright light to dark room, and there our pupils will enlarge to see the things clearly. So that happens with the pupil, and it will control the light entering into the eye. Now let us learn that when we are seeing or observing any object, how that image will form at retina and how our brain will sense that signal. This is how we will get to know what is the object. So first is the function of the eye lens, that it will observe the object and then it forms inverted and real image of the object on retina. So this lens will form inverted and real image on retina. Now the next function is of retina, that it is a delicate membrane and it has an enormous amount of light sensitive cell. So whenever any light enters into a light, it will be illuminate. Right? So delicate membrane and having enormous amount of light sensitive cell, and these cells get activated upon illumination and generate electric signal. So when it sends the light, these cells will get activated and it will generate the electric signals. Now this electrical signals, because this image has already formed, now the light has entered, this cell got activated, retina cell got activated, and then they will send electrical signals. These signals will go to optic nerve, and this optic nerve will send these signals further to the brain, and brain will interpret this signal and tell us that what is the object, or it will interpret that what is the object. So that is how the things will work with the eye, that here this is a lens which will form real and inverted image at retina. Retina is a delicate membrane and it has a light sensitive cell. So once the light will enter, the light will fall on the retina, the cell get activated and generate electrical signal. So this electrical signal will travel via optic nerve. This optic nerve signal will go to brain, where brain will interpret this signal and it will tell us that what is the object. So that is how the eye will work. Power of accommodation. So in this, the lens is a fibrous jelly-like material. Now the curvature of the lens can change its focal length. So curvature of the lens means this is a lens and this is also a lens. Here you can see that it is more bulging out, where here it is less bulging out. So this is a curvature, where here lens is more curved, where here the lens is less curved. Now this will decide the focal length of the lens, and because of this the lens will be able to see the far object or the near object clearly. And how this will work? This action happens with the help of ciliary muscle. Now ciliary muscle, which are attached along with the crystalline lens, will relax, then lens will become thin. So if it is loosened up, then the lens will become thin because its curvature will decrease. Imagine this is a lens. Now this is its curvature. Now muscle over here at both the side, at the top and at the bottom, they are known as ciliary muscle. Now these muscles will loosen up. So the lens curvature will decrease like this. So when the muscles will relax, lens will become thin and the focal length will increase. Now when the focal length will increase, the lens or our eye will be able to see the distinct object clearly. When the ciliary muscle will contract, that means it is relaxed in this position, but when it contracts, the curvature of the lens will increase. And in that case, the lens will become thicker and it increases the curvature of the eye lens. But when curvature will increase, the focal length will decrease, and that's why our eye will able to see the closer object clearly. So when focal length will increase, the distinct object we will see clearly. When focal length will decrease, closer object we will see clearly. And accordingly, when more focal length is there, lens will be thin, muscles will be relaxed. When less focal length will be there, lens will be thick and muscle will be contract. So that is how the ciliary muscle will adjust our lens to see nearer object and far object. Now ability of eye lens to adjust its focal length is known as accommodation. Now this ciliary muscle, in turn, what it is doing? It is adjusting a focal length. And why we are adjusting a focal length? Because for the far object and for the near object, the focal length will vary. That we have already learned in 10th chapter. So focal length will vary, and as per that we will be able to see the far object and near object clearly, and that will happen with the help of ciliary muscle. It will contract, it will relax, and it will change the curvature of the lens. And as the curvature of the lens will change, its focal length will change. So this accommodation of the eye lens, that it will change its focal length, that is known as accommodation. Based on the power of accommodation of our eye lens, there are 2 points, that how much nearer we can see or how much farthest we can see through our eye lens. So the near point of an eye is 25 centimeter. That means if we are reading a book or a newspaper, that we have to keep it at 25 centimeter distance. If we are keeping it very close to our eye, then letters may look hazy. So this much distance needs to be maintained to read. And this is known as least distance of distinct vision. So that much least distance should be maintained to read or to look at the nearer object. The minimum distance at which objects can be seen most distinctly without strain is called near point of an eye. So that is a near point of an eye, and the limit is, and the range is, or the point is 25 centimeter. So when we can see an object at minimum distance without any strain, so that point is known as least distance of distinct vision, and that is 25 centimeter. Similarly, the farthest point has also been there, and that is farthest point up to which the eye can see object clearly is called far point of an eye. So there are 2 points for the eye, near point and far point. This is the farthest point, and that is infinity for the normal eye. So human eye can see the closer object at 25 centimeter distance and the farthest object at infinity. So these 2 points will decide the focal length of our lens, and these 2 points will also tell us that human's eye is normal and that is without any defect. And if this focal length will change, then it will result into an eye defect, and that is known as myopia, hypermetropia and presbyopia. Stereopsis. Stereopsis is a vision that is binocular vision or the perception of the depth, because our 2 eyes are located little bit far from each other. They are few centimeters away. So when we are closing one of our eye, we will see a limited thing and our world will be in 2-dimensional. But when we are opening both the eyes and looking around us, our world will go into 3rd-dimensional, and with that we will be able to see the depth, and we will be able to judge the depth, or we will take a perception of the depth. So this condition is known as stereopsis. Let us understand the detail. So that is a binocular vision or perception of depth. 2 eyes in front of our head, and thus reduces our field of view. Yes, both eyes are in front of our head. Now our eyes are different if we are comparing them with chameleon or flies. Those animals are having their eyes on top of their head. So it will give them wildest possible field view because they have to protect themselves from the prey. But in our case, both the eyes are in front of the head, so our field view is limited. So our vision is limited compared to those animals, but with both the eyes which are situated at the front of our head, we can see with both the eyes 180-degree field view, and with one eye shut we will be able to see 150-degree field view. So that is the ability of our 2 eyes which are situated at front of our head. Now with both the eyes open, we can see world in 3-dimensional depth because our eyes are few centimeters separated. So you can experience this by yourself, that once you can close your left eye and try to see it with right eye, and after that you shut your right eye and try to see with left eye. You will see some difference and you will see that the vision is little bit different, and that is because both the eyes are few centimeters separated. But when we are seeing the world with both the eyes open, it will take 3-dimensional and we will be able to achieve the perception of the depth. Each eye sees slightly different image and our brain combines the both images into one. Now once you experience this, that with left eye the little bit images are different and with right eye little bit images are different. So how our brain is interpreting this? So when we are seeing the object with both the eye open, both the optical nerves will send the messages to the brain, and brain will interpret the things for us, and it will show us combined one image with both the eye. And it also tells us how far or near things are, and brain will also process the information for us that whether that thing is lying near to us or far from us. So this is a stereopsis in which our 2 eye which are situated at front of our head, it will enable us to see 3-dimensional depth, and it will enable us to take a perception of the depth. So that phenomena is known as stereopsis. Let us see about cataract. This is a situation of eye in which A crystalline lens of people at old age becomes milky and cloudy. So the crystalline lens through which we can observe a things or see a things, that will become milky and cloudy at old age. Now this causes partial or complete loss of vision because the lens is not clear. So whatever vision the person will get, it may be partial, or the person will not be able to see a thing. So through cataract surgery it is possible to restore a vision. So whenever person will have this kind of situation, he has to undergo a surgery, and that is known as cataract surgery. In this situation, the crystalline lens will become milky and cloudy, and person will lose partial vision or complete vision. So through surgery they will clear the lens, and again the person will be able to see things clearly. The three defects of the eye. First is myopia, second is hypermetropia, and third one is presbyopia. So let us start with myopia. Myopia is also known as the defect with related to eye, and that eye is also known as myopic eye. The other name of myopia is nearsightedness. In this defect, person will be able to see the nearby things clearly, but person will have a problem by seeing the distant object. So that is known as nearsightedness. So person can see nearby object clearly but can't see distant object clearly. So the second name, that is known as nearsightedness, is opposite. Person can see nearby things clearly, so it is known as nearsightedness. Let us understand in this defect what will happen. So generally when we are seeing the object, whether they are lying far or near to us, that image will form at retina. Retina is a screen that has enormous amount of light sensitive cell. So that retina is lying here. So all the image will form at retina. Whatever we are seeing the object, that object's image will form at retina. But in a myopic eye, that image will form in front of the retina and not on the retina. So that's why that person will not be able to see the distant image clearly. So when person is seeing the image or object which is lying nearby, so at that time that image will form at retina with correct focal length. But when the person is seeing the object which is lying at far, at that time that image will not form at retina, but it will form in front of the retina. So that's why that person will not be able to see the things clearly. So image of distant object is formed in front of the retina like this. Here it is forming and not at the retina. Now why this will happen? That this is due to the excessive curvature of the eye lens. Earlier we have seen that ciliary muscle is responsible for the thickness and thinness of the lens. So if the muscles will contract and relax, it will give a proper curvature to the lens. So if the excessive curvature of eye lens is there, then also the eye has a defect called myopia, or elongation of eyeball may cause myopia. Now this can be corrected by concave lens. So here we have placed concave lens in front of the eyeball, and here we can see that whatever was the defect, that image was formed in front of the retina, that has been corrected, and now the image is forming at the retina. So because we have kept here a suitable concave lens. Now concave lens is whether suitable or not, that will be decided by its power. So the power of length will decide that whether this concave lens will correct this myopic eye or not. So here this is a myopia, which is also known as nearsightedness. In this defect, the image will form in front of the retina, and that will be corrected by suitable power of concave lens. Hypermetropia and hypermetropic eye. This is also known as farsightedness. Person can see distant object clearly but cannot see nearby object. So its near point has a defect and person will not be able to nearby object, but person will be able to see the farther object clearly. So that's why it is also known as farsightedness, in which the far point is proper but the near point will not be 25 centimeter but it will be farther away from 25 centimeter. So person will have a difficulty to see nearby object, or person will have a difficulty in reading when they are keeping at 25 centimeter far. They have to keep the book away from 25 centimeter or farther away from 25 centimeter to read properly. So why this is happening? Because near point will be farther away, like this. This is a near point but it will be farther away. So what will happen, that because the light rays form a close by object are focused at point behind the retina. So whatever image will form will be behind the retina like this and not on the retina, because its near point has been shifted to farther away. So this defect arises due to the focal length will be long or the eyeball became too small. So these two are the possible reasons, and because of that, into the hypermetropic eye, the near point has been shifted to the farther away. This we can correct it with a convex lens. When we are using a suitable power of convex lens, then we can shift that near point to actually a 25 centimeter and person will be able to read properly and see the nearby object clearly. So we can do correction with convex lens and it will give additional focusing power so that person will be able to see the nearby things. So here figure 1, we can see into that near point has been shifted to farther away. Then in hypermetropic eye, actually what is happening, that the image will not form at retina but it will form behind the retina. And what are the possible causes so that this defect has arisen? Because focal length has become long, or focal length has been increased, or eyeball become too small. Because of these two reasons, the near point has been shifted to far away. Now correction we can do it with convex lens, and with the suitable power of convex lens we can correct this defect. Third eye defect is known as presbyopia. So power of accommodation of eye usually decrease with the aging, and this will happen because of the gradual weakening of ciliary muscles. We know that ciliary muscles will adjust the focal length of the crystalline lens, and in turn our lens will be able to see the nearby object and distant object. So this ability will be gradually decreasing along with the aging, because those muscles will be weakening and they will not have proper ability to contract or to relaxes, and that's why this defect will arise. So near point gradually recedes away. They find it difficult to see nearby objects comfortably and distinctly without corrective eyeglasses, and that is known as presbyopia. So presbyopia is a defect which happens because of the weakening of the ciliary muscle, and in this person will have both the type of defects. That person will not be able to see the far object also, and person will not be able to see the near object also. What we have seen in hypermetropia and myopic eye, that their near point will shift and their farther point will shift because of their respective defects. But here, due to the weakening of ciliary muscle, they will not be able to see both of the objects which are lying nearby and farther away, because ciliary muscles are weakening and because they are not being able to properly contract and relax. So this defect is known as presbyopia. Now due to gradual weakening of ciliary muscles and diminishing flexibility of the eye lens, now this kind of defects will be corrected by combining both the lenses. And this progressive lenses are the combination of concave and convex lens. So person will be able to see the far and near objects clearly. So we can remember all the three defects like this, that Myopia is there, it is known as nearsightedness. What will happen in that? That person will not be able to see the far object. And what are the reasons behind that? That image formed in front of the retina. And these are the defects. Because of this, person will not be able to see the far object. That first is excessive curvature of eyelids. Second is elongation of eyeball. Now second is hypermetropia, that is also known as farsightedness. What will happen in that? That person will not be able to see the nearby object. Now what are the causes or what are the possible reasons to arise this defect is image formed behind the retina. Because focal length has become too long or the eyeball has become too small. These are the possible reasons, and because of this defect has arisen. The last one is presbyopia. It comes with the aging, when the ciliary muscles will lose its ability to contract and relax. So those muscles will be weak, and because of that the lens will not change its focal length effectively. So because of that reason, person will not be able to see both the objects which are far and nearby. So person will not be able to see the far and nearby object. Now how can we bring the correction to these defects? For myopia, we are using concave lens. For hypermetropia, we are using convex lens. And for presbyopia, this defect is combination of both. So we are using concave and convex lens. This is also known as progressive lens. Refraction through prism. First of all, we are going to take activity 11.1 and we will understand that how the refraction will happen through prism. So how we are doing this activity is, we are taking one prism, we are keeping it on a white paper. First we are drawing one slanting ray that is falling on the prism, and we are placing two pins P and Q respectively on that ray. Now from the other side, this is our prism, that is A, B and C. So there are two refracting surfaces AB and AC. So first we are drawing the ray which is falling on the AB surface, and we are placing two pins P and Q respectively. Now go to other side and try to see this pin's images from or through the face AC. So once you will see the images of P and Q, these pins, you will get to see that somewhere they will come here. Now once you will get the images, put the dots and then you can join them along with one straight ray, and that ray will be touching this AC surface at F. So here we are giving one point, that is here, and here it is going to be E. Now these two rays are touching this two surfaces, that is AB and AC, at two different points. So here that point is E, and for this ray that point is F. Now this E and F we are joining together. After that, here we are drawing one normal. So that normal will be perpendicular to the AB. And another normal we are drawing, that is going to be M dash, and that is perpendicular to AC. Now let us understand what all rays are there and how this ray has refracted from the prism. So first, our this ray on which we have placed PQ pins, that ray will become our incident ray, because that ray is falling on the surface of the prism. So I am taking P and E because this ray is meeting at the refracting surface of AB at E. So PE is going to be our incident ray. Incident ray means the ray which is falling on the surface of the prism, and it is meeting at the E. Now EF, that ray is traveling from the prism, and we can see that that ray has been bent because it has changed its medium. Till here PE ray was traveling through the air. After it is entering into the prism, it has entered in another medium, and that is glass. So it has shown a banding phenomena, and that is refraction. So our EF ray is a refracted ray. So this much refraction will happen here. Now wherever this PE ray is touching the surface, there we have drawn one normal, that is N dash. So here two normals are there, N dash and M dash. These two are the normals. Now normals are the perpendicular line to the surfaces. Why we have drawn these lines? Because it will show us that how much this ray has bent, and here this angle is showing that this is perpendicular to the surface. Now here, whenever we want to check that what is incident rays angle, that rays angle we are always checking with respect to normal and not with the respect to the surface of the prism. Suppose this is our prism and this ray has fall on the surface. Now here we are drawing one normal. So now we can see three different angles. One angle is this, which our incident ray has made with the surface. Another angle is incident ray has made with the normal. And third is normal has made with the surface of the prism. So first, this is a 90 degree because this normal has made this angle with the surface, so that is 90 degree. Now this angle is not incident angle because that is along with the surface, but the incident angle is going to be along with the normal, because it will give us a proper idea that how much slanting that ray has fall on the surface of the AB prism. So this angle is going to be our incident angle. This is an incident ray, this is an incident angle. Incident angle is always in between the normal and incident ray. So this is going to be our incident angle. Now same way, this ray has been refracted here, that is it has bent, it is traveling from the prism. Now it is coming out. So again it is changing its medium. So this time it is going from denser to rarer medium. So it will go away from the normal, its speed will increase and this ray will become Fs. And this is emergent ray because it is emerging like this, so that's why it is known as emergent ray. So here Fs is our emergent ray. Same way, how it is making angle, that is this angle is known as emergent angle. So here this ray is coming out like this, our normal is over here. So normal along with the surface of the prism, that is making 90 degrees. So this is 90 degree angle. Our emergent angle is not this but this. That is emergent ray has made along with the normal. So this is going to be our emergent angle or angle of emergence. So this is our angle of emergence, this is our angle of incidence. At this angle the ray is coming out, this is emergent ray. Why it is emergent ray? Because it is emerging like this after bending. After refraction it is coming out like this. Now when we are extending these two rays, that incident ray and emergent ray, when we are extending over here, they both will meet at one point. That point we have taken as a G. And when these two rays are meeting with each other, they are forming one angle over here. That is known as angle of deviation. So angle D is angle of deviation. Now why it is angle of deviation? Because if there is no refraction, then this is our prism and whatever ray will fall on that should go straight way out, but it is not happening. So if there is no refraction, then that ray would have gone like this, and whatever emergent ray is there, that has gone like this. So the difference between that two will tell us that how much ray has been bent over here because of the refraction. That this ray is suggesting that without refraction it would have gone like this, but because of the refraction it has gone like this. So this is the difference. This angle is suggesting us that this much is the difference between the incident ray and emergent ray. So that much ray has been bent or that much ray has been changed because it has changed the medium. So that's why it is known as angle of deviation. So here how many angles are there? Incident ray making angle of incident along with the normal. Emergent ray is making angle of emergence along with the normal. And this is angle of deviation, which we are extending these two rays, incident ray and emergent ray. Then they are giving us angle of deviation, which will tell us that how much ray has been bent. This angle is known as angle of prism, and that is A. So in this there are 1, 2 and 3 rays, incident ray, refracted ray and emergent ray, and there are 3 angles, and along with these 3 angles there are 2 normals. And with all of this we will get an idea that when any light ray is changing its medium, it will bend, it will show a refraction, and it is depending upon how much that medium has been denser compared to air. Dispersion of white light by prism. In this, the incident ray will fall on the surface of the prism, and from there it will get refracted. As it will get refracted, this white light beam will separate into 7 different colors, and that we can see it in at other side of the prism, and we can see here that there are 7 different colors, and that will be in the sequence of Vibgyor. So here violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. In this sequence we will get to see all the colors path distinct and separate. Let us understand this phenomenon. So prism splits white light in a band of colors. The band of the colored components of white beam is called its spectrum. So here we will be able to see the 7 different colors, and it is known as spectrum. The band of colored components, these are the colored components which has separated from the white light. So band of color components of light beam is called its spectrum. Now there are 7 colors into this spectrum. Each color will band separately. As we can see it here, if we are taking only 2 colors, then we can see here red color light or red path is distinct from the violet light. That means these 2 paths are different. And similarly, there will be a separate path for all the 7 colors. That means each and every color will band separately and at a different angle. For example, after Vibgyor, the indigo is there, so that color light or the path we will be able to see just above violet, and that will be the indigo. So here the angle for the banding of violet light is different compared to indigo, and so as for all the colors. So those color lights will band at different angles, and then only we will get a separate 7 colors in our spectrum. And these colors will be from top to bottom. It is in this pattern, that red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. So when we are getting each one separately, that means they are bending separately. That means their bending angles are different. So different colors of light bend through different angles. They all will bend through different angles, and that is with respect to incident ray. This is our incident ray, and with respect to incident ray, they all will bend differently. And that's why we will get here 7 different colors distinctly. Otherwise, if they all are bending at one angle, again they all get mixed and we will get white light. That is not happening here because they all will bend at different angle. For example, red light bends the least. So we are getting it at the top of the spectrum. So red light bends the least, whereas violet will bend the most. So that's why it is at the last. And in between all these colors are there. So red light is bending the least among these 7 colors, and violet is bending the most among these 7 colors. Each color emerges along a different path and thus becomes distinct. Distinct means different from other colors. So they all 7 colors will have their own different path. Why? Because they bend at different angles. So they emerge from here, they will get refracted. This emergent ray will get refracted, and because of this it will split into 7 colors. And these colors will bend at different angles, and that's why they will emerge along a different path. We will get to see here 7 different paths like this. And why? Because they all are bending at different angles along a different path, and thus becomes distinct and different from each other. Now let us discuss about the experiment of Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton was the first person who tried to split the white lights into 7 colors. So he first placed a prism like this, and he tried to separate a white light into 7 different colors. Again he placed a similar prism over here just adjacent to this prism and tried to combine all those rays of different lights, but he was not succeeded into this experiment. And after that, in a second try, and he placed a prism upside down. So first prism was upright like this, and another prism was inverted. So whatever white light or light beam was falling on the first prism was splitting into 7 different colors, starting from red till the last one was the violet. Those 7 different colors are again passing from the second prism, and that was inverted, and again it will get combined into a white light. So here at the screen he got a beam of white light when he used a combination of 2 prisms, in which the first prism was upright and the second prism was inverted. And from the second prism he got the white light beam back. Through this experiment, he got an idea that how the rainbow formation is happening into the nature, because rainbow formation is also a dispersion of white light. Here the white light is a sunlight, and a dispersion is happening not through a prism but via water droplets. So he got an idea that how the rainbow formation occur in the nature, and he used this experiment to explain the rainbow formation phenomena. In my previous videos we have seen that how refraction through prism will happen and how prism will disperse the white light band. Now here we are going to understand that how the tiny raindrop will act as a prism. So here this rainbow formation will always happen in opposite to that of the sun. All the sun rays are passing from the water droplet, they will disperse and it will give us a rainbow. So there are 3 basic phenomena which happen when a white light is passing from a raindrop. Refract and disperse at first stage. Second, it will again reflect internally, and third, it will refract and come out. So first thing, when white light will fall on raindrop and it is going to enter into the raindrop, first the refraction will happen. So the white light will bend and simultaneously the dispersion will happen, because here our raindrop is acting as a small or tiny prism. So it will split white light into 7 different colors. Here I have shown you only 2 rays. First ray is red and last ray is violet light. As we know that red light bends the least and violet light bend the most. So that's why violet will be at the last and red light band will be at the first. Now each and every color band will band differently in their distinct angle. So we will be able to see all the 7 colors differently over here. After this, the internal reflection of spectrum will happen. That means this surface of the raindrop which we are seeing here, it will act as a mirror and it will reflect all the 7 colors of the light. For example, there are 7 colors here and all these 7 colors will reflect, and this red color is at the top, violet is at the bottom. So here they will reflect and red will come out as a first, and later on all the 7 different colors will come out after that. So once the reflection will happen, the red color will come at the top and violet will remain at the bottom. This happens because of the reflection. This is known as internal reflection of complete spectrum. So when this 7 colors will fall on this surface of the raindrop, it will act as a mirror and it will reflect all the 7 rays like this. So when the reflection will happen, this is refraction, this is reflection. So when reflection will happen, red color will come at the top. And when we will see that the complete rainbow, that 7 different colors are coming out from the raindrop, the red color will go at the top. Here when these colors are coming out, this red color will be at the top, violet will be at the bottom. Again they will be refracted over here as per the last third phenomena, and here we will get the rainbow. So that is how the rainbow formation will happen into the nature. It passed through 3 different phenomena at first stage: refract, dispersion. This surface of the water droplet will act as a mirror. So internal reflection of complete spectrum will happen, and again we will get the 7 different colors in this pattern, and after refraction we will get here rainbow. So this is how we'll be able to see the rainbow in monsoon season, when there will be little bit of drizzling and there will be a presence of sunlight. Atmospheric refraction. Under this atmospheric refraction, we are going to discuss various topics like position of the stars, twinkling of the stars, why planets do not twinkle, and many more important concepts. So let us start with our first topic, that is position of the stars. It says that position of the stars, what we are seeing, is actually above than the actual position of the stars. So we will be able to see a stars little bit above compared to its actual position. Why this will happen? So starlight entering into the Earth's atmosphere, and after that it will get continuously refracted because of the Earth's atmosphere. And we know that there are many layers of Earth's atmosphere, and each and every layer there will be a changing of the air, and there will be a denser, cooler, hotter air will be there. One simple phenomena if we will understand, then when water is boiling, for example this is a vessel and water is boiling, so whatever vapor is going up, if you will see in this region, then we will not be able to see this region clearly, and we will see that this region is flickering or it is wavering. Now why that is happening? Because whatever air present over here, that air is hot air, and hot air's refractive index is little bit less compared to cool air, because hot air is less denser compared to cool air. So here refractive index is less, whereas outside this region where hot air is not present, their refractive index is more. So you will see little bit different pattern or the wavering phenomena over here where the hot air is present. Similar, this kind of effect will be able to see when we are looking at the stars, because starlight is passing from all the different layers of the atmosphere. What will happen when starlight is entering into Earth's atmosphere? The starlight is coming and passing from Earth atmosphere, where Earth atmosphere is denser compared to the space vacuum, because their air is not there. So our Earth atmosphere is denser compared to from where the starlight is coming. So it is coming from rarer medium to denser medium, so it will move towards the normal. It will move towards the normal as it will enter into the Earth atmosphere. So as a result, if the star is here, we will be able to see the star little bit above. And if the person is standing here, then actual position of the star is here, but we'll be able to see here because the starlight is bending towards the normal. It is coming towards the normal. So that's why the apparent position of the star will be little bit above compared to the actual position. So starlight bend towards the normal as it enters into the Earth atmosphere. Star appears little higher or above compared to its actual position. And position of the stars are not stationary. Why? Because since Earth atmosphere physical conditions are not stationary. We know that Earth atmosphere is the thing which is continuously changing. And this refractive index is depending upon Earth atmosphere. As this Earth atmosphere is not stationary, this refractive index is keep on changing. So that's why the position of the stars will not be stationary. It is depending upon how much this ray will bend and how much it will come towards the normal. Accordingly, we will be able to see the star's position. So it is fluctuating and it is not stationary. Our second phenomena is twinkling of the stars. We know that stars are distant objects. They are very far from us. So for us, stars are a point-size source of the lights. So when this point-size source of the lights, these light beams are entering into the Earth atmosphere, it will pass from layers and layers of Earth atmospheric region. And we know that Earth atmosphere is not stationary, it is continuously changing. So because of that, it passes from all the different region, and so that it will show us this kind of flickering effect. This flickering effect is same as we have discussed earlier, that when any water is boiling in the pan and these vapors are going up. So in this region, we'll be able to see that flickering effect, that wavering effect where there is a hot air is there, because hot air's refractive index is different compared to cool air. So here we'll be able to see the flickering effect because this region is different from the other region. Similarly, when starlight, which is a light beam which is passing from Earth atmosphere, it will also show a similar kind of phenomena, because it is passing from a various region which has a various diffractive index. So it will show a flickering effect, and because of that, sometimes stars we look at, they look brighter, sometimes they look fainter, and this will give a twinkling effect to stars. So stars are very distant, they approximate point-size sources of light. As the path rays of the light coming from the stars goes on varying slightly, an amount of starlight entering the eye flickers, because this starlight is also varying as it passes from different refractive indexes, and the amount of starlight entering the eye, it will flickers. And that's why stars sometimes appear brighter, sometimes fainter. And this will give twinkling effect to the stars. Our third point is, why don't planets twinkle? So planets are much closer to the Earth, and they are extended sources and large number of point-sized sources of the light. Here many sources are there, and whereas into the star it was only a point-size source of the light. Here there are large number of point-size sources of the light. So from each and every point, number of rays are coming towards the earth. So total amount of light entering our eye from all the individual point size sources will average out to 0, and thereby nullifying the twinkling effect. So many rays are falling on our light and it will nullify twinkling effect, and that's why planets do not twinkle, whereas the stars are only point size source, whereas they are very far from us, and as they are entering into the earth atmosphere they will flicker, and they are passing from many regions of the earth atmosphere. They will flicker, and because of that will be able to see them twinkling, whereas planets are rays which are coming from each and individual point size source. When they are falling on our eye, that average, it will average out to be 0, and that's why it will nullify the flickering effect and twinkling effect, and that's why planets do not twinkle. Our another point in atmospheric refraction is advanced sunrise and delayed sunset. As per this phenomena, it says that we will be able to see 2 minutes after the sunset. That means if this is the horizon, then if the sun has go past the horizon, after that also past 2 minutes we'll be able to see the sun even though it is down the horizon. And advanced sunrise means we'll be able to see the sun even if it is down below the horizon, and then also 2 minutes before we'll be able to see the sunrise. So as per this phenomena, we'll be able to see the sun 2 minutes before and 2 minutes after the sunset, even though the sun is just down below the horizon, and actually we shouldn't be able to see the sun, but then also due to atmospheric refraction we'll be able to see 2 minutes later and 2 minutes before the sun. So the sun is visible to us 2 minutes before actual sunrise and about 2 minutes after actual sunset. This happens due to atmospheric refraction. Now let us know the reason that why it will happen. We know that sun is very far from us and from earth. So when sun rays, those light rays are entering into the earth atmosphere, they are entering from vacuum, that is a rarer medium, to a denser medium, that is earth atmospheric medium. So from rarer medium to denser medium, when light will enter, it will move towards the normal. So if light is entering like this, then this is a rarer medium and this is a denser medium, then it will move towards the normal. So here, if we are considering this horizontal line as horizon, then this light ray will come like this, and we will be able to see after sunset and before sunrise. After sunset and before sunrise, sun is just down below the horizon. Even though we'll be able to see, and this is the apparent position. Apparent position means where we can see that. So this is apparent position and this is actual position. So once the light ray is entering into the earth atmosphere, let us imagine that this is earth atmosphere, which is a denser medium, and this is vacuum, which is a rarer medium. So from where the rarer to denser it is entering, it will just move towards the normal. And this is why we will be able to see 2 minutes before and 2 minutes after the sunset. At both the time, after sunset and before sunrise, sun will be here only, down below the horizontal line or down below the horizon. So that is its actual position. But due to this atmospheric refraction phenomena, we will be able to see it here. That is apparent position, and we will be able to see here after and before sunset and sunrise respectively. So light enters from rarer medium to denser medium. So light rays will refract and bend towards the normal. This reason will remain same for both of this thing, that sunrise and sunset, because in both the situation the sun will remain here and the light rays will bend towards the normal, and we will be able to see the apparent position over here. Scattering effect of the light. Under this phenomena, we are going to first study the Tyndall effect, which we have already seen in 9th standard. Let us revise this effect. So this Tyndall effect may arise due to the solution of colloidal suspension. Now what is the meaning of colloidal solution? That is a heterogeneous solution, but this solution seems or appears as a homogeneous solution because the particles of this solution will not be able to see through naked eye. So if there are two solutions with us, for example salt plus water or copper sulfate plus water, and we have milk and water or alone milk will be there, then there are two solutions with us. That was, one is water plus salt and another solution is water and milk. So for this second solution, we are adding some of the drops of milk into the water. This solution is a true solution. That means the particles of the solutes are very small, and due to their smaller size, they will not be able to scatter the light. Now what is the meaning of scattering of light? For example, these are the particles of solute into the solution. So when light will pass from this solution, this light will scatter due to these particles are coming in its way. So this is a scattering of the light. Now here the particles of the solutes are very small, so they will not show us this phenomena which is known as scattering of the light. But here the particles are big because this solution is heterogeneous solution and not a homogeneous solution, whereas this solution is homogeneous solution. So here we will be able to see the scattering, and here we will not be able to see the scattering. So colloidal solutions are coming under this category, under heterogeneous solution. So when we have colloidal solution with us and when we will put a torch like this, then we will be able to see a light path clearly. That is how the light rays are passing from the solution, and this effect is known as Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect means we'll be able to see the path of light clearly through the medium. That is a Tyndall effect. So the phenomena of scattering of light by colloidal particles give rise to Tyndall effect. For example, sunlight passes through canopy of dense forest. So when scattering of light happens through any medium, that is known as Tyndall effect. Under the scattering of light, the first phenomena is why sky appears blue to us. So the molecules of air and other particles in atmosphere have size smaller than the wavelength of visible light. So atmospheric particles are very smaller, and these smaller particles are scattering blue light maximum. These particles are scattering light of shorter wavelength, and that is blue. So small particles are scattering light which has short wavelength, then the longer wavelength red. Red light wavelength is 1.8 times greater than the blue light. So red light's wavelength is more, and that's why whatever shorter wavelength we will be able to see in the sky is blue color light, and that's why this blue color light will scatter through the atmospheric particles and that will reaches till us, and that's why we'll be able to see the sky color blue. If there would be no atmosphere on earth, then the sky would have appeared dark to us, and that's why sky appears dark to the passenger who are flying at height, because at that prominent height there are no particles who will scatter the light. So that's why for them the sky is black, whereas for us, where the light scattered through a small particles, and they are scattering the blue light maximum because they are scattering the light which has a shorter wavelength and not the longer wavelength, and that is blue. So that's why we'll be able to see the blue color. Scattering of light. This phenomena we are going to understand with the help of activity 11.3. In this activity, this is the setup in which we have taken a source of light which is white color. After that we have taken two lenses. This both lenses are converging lens, that means they are convex lens. And we required here converging action, that means it needs to collect all the rays, and at the end of the activity will be able to get one point size image or one point where we can see the color of the light. So these two lenses we have taken. This is lens 1 and this is lens 2. Both are converging convex lens which will give us converging effect. After this lens we have placed here glass tank. We need to see the color of light which will pass from this tank. So it needs to be glass. That's why it should be transparent and we'll be able to see the color of the light from outside. After that we have placed here cardboard. From that in middle the hole is there from where the rays will pass and again fall on the second converging lens, and after at the last we'll be able to get the point size image of the light beam, and here we'll be able to see the color of the light. So in this tank we have taken 2 liters of water and we have added 1 to 2 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid. Once everything is ready, we are going to add sodium thiosulfate, that is 200 gram of sodium thiosulfate. Once we will add this, after 1 to 2 minutes our reaction will start and we will be able to see that here the white color beam will change and it will continuously changing its color. So let us understand how and why. So in this activity, these two things we are taking it into the tank, and once this setup is ready we are going to add sodium thiosulfate. So this reaction is going to happen over here, that sodium thiosulfate, that is Na2S2O3 will react with sulfuric acid and we will get sulfur, sodium sulfate, sulfur dioxide and water. Here this is important for us, which is sulfur. So sulfur will come out as a precipitate. Sulfur will be a precipitate and within first 2 minutes the particles will be very small. When it will started to forming the particles into the tank, the particles will be very minute. When the particles are very small, at that time it will scatter a light and it will scatter a blue color light, because particle size is very small, and because of that here we will be able to see blue color light. So first, when particles are very small, we'll be able to see the blue color light. After that, as this reaction will progress, our particles will become bigger. It will become bulgy. So the particle size will be growing continuously. So as this particle will grow, here the color of the light will change, because as the particle will grow and particle size will become bigger and bigger, they will scatter a light which has a longer wavelength. Blue color light or the violet light has a smaller wavelength. So after this, after some time, we'll be able to see the orange color light. After that, when particles will become even bigger, they will scatter a light which has a color, that is crimson. And at the last, when particles are big enough, and they will scatter the light which has a maximum wavelength, and that is color red. So at last we'll be able to see the red color light over here. So this happens because of the particle size. As the continuously particles are growing bigger and bigger, here also color of the light will change. Smaller particles will scatter a light which has a short wavelength, so that is blue. And as the particles will grow in size, it will scatter a longer wavelength light, and that's why we'll be able to see this change in color, that it will go from orange to crimson and crimson to red. Now our second phenomena is color of the sun at sunset and sunrise. Earlier we have seen that why we will be able to see the color of the sky is blue. Then what is the reason that why at sunset and sunrise we'll be able to see the sky color light pink or reddish, and sun will appear to us is red. So when sun is at overhead and when the sun is at the horizon. So when at the noon, when sun is at the overhead, the distance from sun to earth is comparatively less when sun is at the horizon, because we know that Earth is not a complete sphere. So that's why this distance will be less compared to this distance. So sun will be relatively near to us when it is at our overhead. But when it is at the horizon, then it is relatively far compared to the afternoon's position. So at noon, the sun rays travel shorter distance compared to when the sun will be at the horizon. So at noon, sun appears white because as a little blue and violet light will be there that will scatter away and it will appear as white. Whereas when the sun is at the horizon, most of the blue light and the shorter wavelength light are scattered away by the particles, and the light will reaches till us is only of longer wavelength. Now longer wavelength light is red color, so light reaches till us are of longer wavelength and that is red. So that's why we see red sun at sunrise and sunset. So here distance is the main reason when the sun is at the overhead and when sun is at the horizon. When it is at the overhead, the blue and violet light, the little bit of that light will scattered and sun will appears to us white. Whereas here at the horizon, the most of the blue and violet light will scattered away and it will not reaches till us because this distance is more. So the light will reaches till us is only of longer wavelength light and that is red. So that is why we'll be able to see the red color at sunrise and sunset, whereas the white color of the sun at noon. So hope this video has cleared your doubt. In coming segment we are going to discuss many more important concepts. So don't forget to subscribe, learn yourself. I'll see you in next video. Till then, keep learning, keep sharing.